Hey everyone, Rob here from Daisho Tactical. Today I'm going to cover CQB Ready Positions and CQB Carry Positions. This is one of the first things I cover with students when I'm teaching a new carbine class because it's real basic and it's really kind of fundamentally important. It's a fundamental skill. So first I'm going to cover the carry positions. What are they? Carry positions are just safe ways to carry the weapon in which I'm not flagging anybody else. It's a safe way to carry the weapon around other people, and it's kind of a movement position or a transport position. Two of them, they're real simple. First one is high carry. Muzzle's pointed straight up in the air. Pretty basic. Thing to remember, it's a one-handed operation. If you bring your other hand up here, right, you start running around, you end up becoming that green army man, and that muzzle ends up coming down here, and then you're in a different position. This is actually what we call high ready. So high carry is a one-handed operation. It's really good for when you got to go from one place to another quickly, because you can run pretty easily in this position. Okay. The other one we're going to cover is called Sewell. The muzzle is pointed straight down to the ground like so. The thing about Sewell is people kind of screw up. If they're wearing like a plate carrier with magazines and such, they tend to lay that stock on their chest. They get real lazy about it, and then that muzzle comes up slightly, and all of a sudden I'm flagging the legs of the people around me. You can't do that. This is lazy Sewell. This is proper Sewell. There needs to be a gap between your chest and the stock. Stock needs to be stripping down. Muzzle needs to be oriented straight at the ground. It's a safe carry position. Now I'm going to move on to our two main ready positions. The first one is called low ready. It's the most basic, it's the standard. It's also the fastest one to use when trying to get the weapon up into the fight. So what is it? Muzzle's depressed ever so slightly down. Why is the muzzle down? So I can see what's going on. I got to see what I see before I do what I do. On a range, we can stay up on our sights all the time and just engage targets. And no big deal because there's no threat to us. We're not trying to process anything. We're not giving any commands to anybody. We're just shooting targets. That's fine. But in the real world, like on a SWAT operation, the vast majority of things I encounter, like 99.9% of them, I don't shoot. Okay? I give verbal commands to, I make decisions, I put people under arrest, etc., etc. But I don't shoot them. But I have to see them before I can kind of assess and process what the hell's going on. I've got to put myself in the best position to process information when I'm doing my CQB, which means when I'm at that threshold, when I'm clearing a room, I'm not here on my sights. I'm slightly down so I can see stuff. All right. Now, how far down is this muzzle? It's not all the way down here. The general rule is if I'm standing in the threshold of a standard sized bedroom, I want to be able to see the baseboard on the opposite wall. So for me, it's just a couple degrees. It's right here. It doesn't take any time at all to snap up and bring that weapon to bear on target. And that's not what's going to slow you down in a gunfight. What kills us for time on a gunfight in the real world is processing. Our ability to process information, so we're going to put ourselves in the best position to do that. Get that weapon out of your sights. Now let's look real quick at some of the ergonomics of it. The toe of the stock is on contact with my body. It's contact with my chest here. As the weapon comes up, that's when I flip off my safety. Okay? Your personal SOP may vary. There's other ways. Some people don't flip off safety until they're actually firing. That's fine. But for me, if I'm bringing my weapon up and going on target, I'm doing it for a reason. So anytime I come up on target, the weapon comes off safe. Notice the weapon comes up into my eye line and not my head coming down to the sights. If everything's positioned correctly, the weapon should just come up, and then my red dot should be right where I'm looking at. Okay? So I want to bring that weapon up into my eye line, not my head down to the sight. So now we're going to talk about high ready. Looks like this. You'll notice my sport hand is up on the forehand, ready to activate my light or whatever. The stock is somewhere around the meat of my forearm. It's kind of close to my body, and this muzzle, you can't see it, but it's ever so slightly to the right. Why? So I can actually see. So I can see what I see before I do what I do. Now, how do I bring the weapon to bear on a target from high ready? Well, I'm going to bring it out like so, and I'll just pull it back into my shoulder. As I pull it into my shoulder, that is when I flip off my safety. I'm kind of overemphasizing here. Just remember, if you're wearing armor and stuff, your stock's got to clear all that stuff. So yeah, bring that stock away from your body before you pull it back in. Once again, I'm overemphasizing it. That's how you do it. Now, that's two motions. Bring it out, come back in. It is slower than low ready. There's no way around it. This is much faster than this. So it is a slower motion. So why would we use it? Why would we bother? Well, one is it compresses the rifle quite a bit. Okay, this doesn't have a suppressor on it, but if it did, this would be even more important. If I'm moving around a structure and I'm in a low ready, this is extending the rifle quite a bit away from my body. And if I got to get close to a threshold because maybe the hallway's narrow or other teammates got to get around me or it's just a cluttered environment, this might not be very practical. Whereas if I come up here in this high ready, it compresses everything down, so there's a lot more room for things to work. You'll find more often than not this is going to happen when you're inside a structure. Additionally, when I'm moving around a structure in low ready, if it's a particularly crowded area, maybe like a garage or something, or just a crowded house, there's lots of crap that my muzzle is going to catch on down low, okay? Tables, chairs, couches, etc. There's just a lot of crap down here. Whereas if I bring my muzzle up here, everything's a lot more clear up here in your house. It's a lot easier for you to bring that weapon to bear if I have that muzzle up high. So that's one big advantage. Another one is, quite honestly, it is just easier for me to fight physically if I have to use force on somebody. It's a lot easier for me to fight up here like this and keep this weapon secure than it is down here. Down here, if someone tries to grab this weapon, it's very difficult for me to get it back in the fight because I got only these small little muscles here to get that weapon back in the fight. Whereas up here, I'm using all the major muscle groups of my arms, biceps, triceps, etc. It's just a lot easier to keep this weapon from being taken from me, and it's a lot easier to fight suspects. Once again, I'm a lot more likely to use force hand to hand than I am shooting someone on a SWAT warrant. So that's why we use this, even though it is slower, it is very common. Third position we're going to talk about is called flat stock. It looks like this. Why would I do this? Well, it's just another solution to the low ready problem of this takes up a lot of space, and I need more room. So I'm going to do this to bring that muzzle closer to my body. You'll notice the stock is no longer firmly in my shoulder, therefore it's going to be tougher to mitigate recoil shooting like this. Can I engage targets like this? Yeah, I can engage targets like this, but it's not ideal. It's not how we usually train to engage targets. So one advantage of flat stock over, say, high ready is that the muzzle stays oriented downrange at the target. So if I'm pieing a door or pieing a threshold or whatever, the muzzle's already pointed that way, and so if I have to address something, I can do so quickly. Note, it's really difficult to use my sights, really impossible, but at this distance I can just point shoot and then snap that weapon back up to bear on the target. It is a temporary position. Flat stock is not the way you're going to be walking around clearing the whole structure, where I might do that with my high ready. Flat stock is a solution to a problem, and it's a short solution. Oh, I need more room on this threshold. I'm going to come up tight in my flat stock, and as soon as I have room to bring that weapon back into a low ready, I'm going to do that. It is not the way I clear the entire structure. So that's all I got on carry positions, ready positions. It's really basic stuff, but it's an important fundamental to master before you move on to more advanced room clearing techniques. Thanks for watching. Time for the post-video shameless request for support. If you guys like my content, you want to see more of it, please like, subscribe, hit the little bell. You guys know how YouTube works. Better yet, support my channel. Go to my website, daishotactical.com. There you can find a variety of products that I make myself at my workbench. I make a variety of slings in a bunch of different colors, quite a few different models. I also make shooting bags. Any money spent at the store really does help me moving the channel forward and making more content for you in the future. Thanks for watching.